That's right.
Alonzo from Training Day is back with another hard-hitting video. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you missed this video. And I'm disappointed, but I'll get over it. Because if you're here now, and you are, then that means you probably saw this video. And if you didn't, again, I am disappointed, but once again, I will get over it. And you can always go back to the aforementioned videos after this one. So,
hooray.
but the reason why this video exists is because at least 1,000 of you clicked the like button on my video about fragrances that do it all, which is not exactly what it may seem like if you didn't see the video. So you just have to go see the video. There's more than meets the eye. The coolest thing was that so many of you guys chimed in the comments on that video telling me what your unicorn fragrances are. And that was awesome. However, some of your picks left me a little bit curious. As I discussed before, the attributes that I use to describe what I call a unicorn fragrance are as follows. Number 1, great blend / quality. Number 2, above average performance. Number 3, high likability. That is to you at the very least, and most likely to others as well. Number 4, relative uniqueness, especially in the context of your collection and your regular fragrance wardrobe. And number 5, versatility. I'm talking year-round, day or night, easy to wear for any occasion. Some of you guys listed some fragrances that I completely agree meet all the criteria except versatility. There were some daring picks from you guys. So either you didn't quite get the assignment or you're just balling like that and you wear Dior Homme Parfum in the summertime. Either way, it doesn't matter. Do your thing. As promised, I am sharing 10 of my personal unicorn fragrances in this video. I just have some important ideas to share with you. You guys know how I do. I always have thoughts. I like to share those thoughts with this camera that is ultimately with you. Real quick, this is Future Justin. I'm coming to you after I just shared the big caveat that I just said I was going to share. And it turned out to be way more information than I anticipated sharing, but it's all gold. I'm telling you, it's going to set up this video so you're going to understand what's happening. If you don't watch all of what I'm about to say, then you'll miss some of this video. Some of it will not land for you, but it'll be fine. You'll get it. But if you're a real one, you'll stick around, testing your patience. Are you for real? Now, this will seem strange, but the 10 fragrances I'm going to talk about in this video are not necessarily 10 out of 10 fragrances. Strange, I know. Now, I would rate all of them very highly, and some of them are actually 10s for me. But checking all the boxes being those 5 attributes I listed earlier, does not necessarily make a fragrance perfect for me. It makes it simply highly enjoyable and wearable, which I think most of us are looking for out of our fragrances, period. However, what elevates a fragrance into 10 out of 10 territory for me is something I've tried to explain a few times before in past videos, and that is the inexplicable nature of its vibe. The wearing experience affects me in ways that I cannot actually put into words. When I spray the fragrance on and I'm wearing it and I can smell it around me, it activates my limbic brain in the most profound way, at least as much as the smell can do. And as some of you guys already know, the limbic brain does not contain language, which is why I would struggle to actually explain the true effect that I experience with 10 out of 10 fragrances. So as you could probably deduce, a 10 out of 10 fragrance does not have to check all the boxes that a unicorn fragrance checks. Instead, in addition to smelling amazing to me, which is prerequisite number 1, a 10 out of 10 fragrance has an invisible box that only it can access. You can't see it, and it checks that box based on, again, its effect on me. Now, they're not mutually exclusive. The two categories can coexist and overlap, but they are not naturally related, at least for me. What typically makes a 10 out of 10 not a unicorn for me is a lack of versatility. Again, that's one of the 5 major attributes that must be in place. And that lack of versatility is usually due to the scent profile it has and or its potency. I have many 10 out of 10 fragrances that are extremely situational, and ironically, I might only get a few wears out of them per year despite how much I enjoy them. And on the flip side of the coin, what typically makes a unicorn fragrance not a 10 out of 10 is that it just lacks a little bit of this, again, inexplicable depth for my personal taste, and it just doesn't have that special effect on me when I wear it. So this is not necessarily a list of straight 10s, but you will see a few. So I'll be giving my rating for each fragrance as we go along. If you're still here, geez, you're a real one. Thank you for being real. Let's dive right into the list. In no particular order. First one up is from the House of Creed. This is Viking. I felt like a fougere is absolutely necessary in a list like this. So I chose a fougere that I can wear pretty much year round. Again, versatility is kind of the fulcrum for the qualification of a fragrance in this list. Yes, I need to love the way it smells. Yes, it needs to have above average performance, all the things I said, but I need to be able to wear it day or night, any season. Viking serves that purpose from Creed. Now, it is a little polarizing. Not everyone digs this stuff. Some people say it smells a little bit old-fashioned. I can see what they mean, but I don't feel old-fashioned when I wear this. They're like $1,000,000, honestly. But I don't give Viking a 10. Viking is a solid 9 out of 10 for me. It just doesn't get over the hump quite like some other fragrances, and that's totally fine. For instance, a fougere that does that for me is Tom Ford Fougere d'Argent, but I don't consider that quite as versatile. I'm not pulling that one out on a hot day in the summer before I would pull this one out, so that's why it's not here. But this is a very hot, spicy, yet fresh and minty fougere. Has that clean lavender soapy quality, some smooth earthy woods as it dries, lots of bright poppy citrus when you first spray it on. It just smells like a gentleman, but with a lot of class and depth. Really, really good stuff. Creed Viking. Up next, we have a 10 out of 10 for me. One of the most interesting attributes of a 10 out of 10 for me, and I think maybe for most people, is how specific they can be to you or to me, meaning that this fragrance I'm going to tell you is a 10 for me. Some of you will not get it. You'll be like, how is that a 10? It's okay. It's simple. Like, how could it really get you there? And my answer to that is,
I don't know. It just does.
This is Dior Homme 2020. When I wear this, it affects me in the way I've been trying to explain to you. For some of you, this might be a solid 6, and I'm not gonna say it wrong. I'm not even gonna get offended because it's not gonna affect how I feel about it. There's something about this fragrance, the way it comes together. I think it's the synthetic ingredients. Maybe it's the ISOE super in here. The way it creates this enveloping, musky woodiness that is accented by a little bit of citrus that's not too bright, and some LME resin, which adds a little bit of texture and some even touch of sweetness in there. For some reason, when I get this around me, that muskiness just gets me. And I think I'm a big musk fan because we're gonna see some other iterations of muskiness in other fragrances that we talk about that I really dig. But it smells utterly Dior. It just has that vibe. And it's also something that you can wear anytime. I wore this day or night, again, year round, doesn't matter. I'm gonna feel comfortable. I'm not gonna second guess myself when I spray this on. That is Dior Homme 2020. It's a unicorn and it's a 10. Let's talk about my scent of the day today, which is one I've been raving about for years now, at least 3-4 years at this point. This is from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is Gentle Fluidity Silver. And this is another 10 out of 10. Again, not just based on scent, because the scent is amazing, not just based on versatility, it's fresh but with depth so I can wear it year round, not just based on the performance, and this is somehow kind of a performance monster for me, but mainly based on how it makes me feel when I have it around me. The cooling nature of the juniper berry, the slightly sweet ambery vibes, a little bit of vanilla in there. It's smooth, but it's also kind of crisp and sharp at the same time. A little bit bitter, but sweet. Again, only a few elements working together that creates a simplicity that is just iconic for me. Again, it's how it makes me feel that edges it over into 10 territory, but it is a unicorn for me. This could function year round, day or night. It's going to do everything I need it to do. It's going to be likable to people, all that stuff. It's all here, but it's also pretty special for me. That is Gentle Fluidity Silver from MFK. Gonna have this and everything else I'm talking about linked down in the description if you want to check these fragrances out for yourself. Up next is a solid 9 out of 10 for me. This is a classic from Hermes that will be polarizing. Some people don't really go near this stuff, say it smells like an old man. Whatever, more for me. Père Hermes Eau de Toilette. Now, some of you guys might ask, Justin, what about Eau Xerjoff? Wouldn't that work perfectly in this case? Eau Xerjoff could be worn year round. It is extremely fresh, and honestly, even though fresh profiles aren't really suited for cold weather, just in terms of vibe, you could wear it, no problem. It's not going to be off-putting, it's not going to smell out of place or anything like that, but I just don't typically reach for Eau Xerjoff in the cold. Even though I could, that's not where my tastes go in the cold. I'm looking for something warmer and cozier, richer and deeper and fuller and darker. I don't even look at Eau Xerjoff in the winter months, and I think it just comes more to life in the heat. Whereas the original Terre Hermes Eau de Toilette, I was between this and the Parfum, but if I had to choose between one of the two, this or the Parfum to wear for a hot summer day, I would actually choose this one simply because it's a little fresher. The Parfum is still a little fresh, but way more dense, more rounded, a little bit less bright. This, I think, is a little bit more versatile than the Parfum. Even though I do like the Parfum more, the Parfum is a 10 out of 10 for me. The wearing experience takes me there. This one, almost. Not quite. Parfum is just elevated to this, but this is that very sophisticated citrus and wood combo. People say it has this like gunpowder flint vibe to it. I totally get what they mean by that. There's an edge here, a masculine edge, but it's still very sophisticated, very classy smelling. So this is a solid unicorn. That is Terre d'Hermes Eau de Toilette. From the house of Marc-Antoine Barrois, a fragrance that I think I was kind of raving about before the hype really settled in. This was again back in like 2020 when I first got my hands on it, thanks to a good friend of mine who introduced it to me, and now I haven't been able to look back. Now everyone's all about this fragrance. There's clones of it and everything, so it's nothing new now, but we cannot deny the greatness of Ganymede. Now this is a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Really, really close. Why it's not there, again, couldn't tell you, but I wore this yesterday. It's so lovely, but I can see why people don't like this. It is a fresh, kind of musky, green metallic feel with this suede-like leather underpinning to it that just smells very luxurious. It smells very expensive. I think the immortelle note kind of makes it a little bit odd, as this almost maple curry feel somewhere in the middle of the scent. That might sound weird, and it is, but it just works. It smells wonderful, and it checks all the boxes, so to speak. Again, those 5 attributes we talked about, they're all in here if you're asking me, but you got to love the scent first and foremost. It could perform the best, it could get tons of compliments, it could be super versatile, and it could be really unique. This has all of that. But if you don't like it, none of that matters. So make sure you sample first. That's Ganymede. Let's move back into 10 out of 10 territory. This has been a 10 for me for years now. Even when I got a decant of it like 8 years ago to this bottle I got just a couple years ago, this has been a 10 out of 10 from day one. This is Renaissance from Xerjoff. Again, it's that wearing experience. It checks all the other boxes. One of the most robust summer leaning fragrances I have in my collection. Citrus based, mint, but it has this musky ambery quality. As it dries down, again, I guess I'm a big musk fan, that just captures me in the air. I love that I can smell it all day long. That's why I would want to wear a fragrance like this when I need that type of longevity. I don't need that to like it, but if I have it for a time that I need it, then it's just a plus. And that is definitely a plus for Renaissance. It performs quite well for me for a citrus-based fragrance. And again, it just elevates my mood, takes me to a real special place in my head, gives me a lot of confidence. I love the way it makes me feel. That is Renaissance from Xerjoff. This fragrance has been growing on me quite a bit from the house of Clive Christian, kind of a re-release that came out last year in 2023, but it's actually been around since 1925, if you can believe it. I would imagine it's not exactly the same fragrance as it was back then, and how could we expect it to be? That was like 99 years ago. This is Town and Country, my little 10 milliliter bottle, which I got in a little set. I think you can find that set as well. I'll link to what I can find down below. This is one of those fragrances that, again, the scent itself is wonderful. It is very enjoyable. It's been likable to me and others around me when I've worn it, but it is just the way it wraps me up that makes it really special for me. I like that more than I like the scent, honestly, because the scent is not all that complex. There's not a whole lot here. You get 3 main ingredients, clary sage, sandalwood, and ambergris, but they're so naturalistic. The way they work together makes them beautiful, and there's something in here that makes it perform quite well, more than you might expect, especially off first spray. I think this is a scent you could go a little bit nose blind to if you're not careful. It does smell both classy and casual at the same time, a real easy wear, but it has a sophistication to it. Day or night, again, year round, it's wonderful. I give this an 8.75 out of 10. It was an 8 when I first tried it, but as I've worn it more, it's only elevated, so who knows, it could continue to creep up. Sometimes 10s take a while to grow, to sprout from the seed. Sometimes it happens right away, but either way, what matters is that you love what you're spraying on your body. Town and Country from Clive Christian. Total unicorn. We've got a heavy hitter from the house of Amouage, and this has been a favorite of mine for years now. This is a 10 out of 10. Easy. Because of the way it makes me feel. This is Beach Hut Man. Green, soapy, woody, masculine vibes. I get a little bit of this old school feel in the center of the fragrance, but everything around it is more than modern. It's easy to wear if you consider yourself maybe a little bit more sophisticated, or you want to have that vibe as you move through the world. Just again, make sure you love the scent, but it is a robustly fresh green foliage type of woody but minty fragrance. There's so much going on here that creates a very definitive identity, which I love about it. And again, the way it makes me feel, the fact that I can smell it for 9-10 hours later, and it just pulls me in more and more as the day goes on. It just perfectly dries down with the day. It has kind of a sweeter, almost ambery resinous core to it that comes alive a little bit more as it dries down, even though that greenness is still on the edges. It just works perfectly for me. It makes me feel like my best. This is Beach Hut Man. It's a unicorn for me. We got this fragrance from Zaharoff that is a solid 8 out of 10 for me. It's a lovely scent. It's a simple scent, but the way that it wears is just has a little bit of something special to it. It does have some personality. This is Signature Royale X, and this is not going to be for everyone. Again, specific personality here. With specificity comes polarization. This is kind of like sweaty, musky, woody citrus. That's the best way I can put it. The way it sprays on has a clean, soapy citrus feel. As it dries, it becomes a little bit more musky, a little bit more edgy, but kind of a clean dirty, if you can imagine that. Read the story on this fragrance on the Zaharoff website and you'll get an idea of what they're going for, and this accomplishes it very well. But it's perfectly versatile. I can wear this anytime, day or night, hot or cold. I feel confident wearing it. I've had compliments on this fragrance. I've had people asking me what it is because it just has this pervasiveness and its muskiness with how it moves through the air and captures people's attention. Again, does not move me beyond words, but I truly enjoy it and it's really easy to wear. That is Signature Royale X. And the final fragrance, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. This is one of the most interesting depth-filled citrus-based fragrances I have in my collection. I love how I feel when I wear this, and it just so happens to be something, again, I can wear anytime. It checks all the boxes. This is from Roja Parfum, Burlington 1819. Once again, a little bit polarizing here, and it's the cumin note that makes this one a little bit hard to wrap heads and noses around for some people, but for me, I guess I'm a cumin fan. It pulls me in. I just love the feeling, and it's fresh but not terribly bright, juicy, dripping, ambery, boozy citrus. Grapefruit and rum working together with spices, with some warmer, darker notes as it dries down. It just has so much depth to it. And again, depth is something I'm a sucker for. It's what really brings me into a fragrance as it dries on the skin throughout the day, keeps my interest as I wear it throughout the day, and just makes me feel my best self. This does that, and it just so happens I can wear it anytime. It's been very likable for most people I wear it around. And for a fresher citrus-based fragrance, it actually performs quite well because of its depth, at least if you're asking me. That's what my experience is, and that is Burlington 1819, our final unicorn. If you want to see another video like this, because I have more I can include, let me know down in the comments, also by liking this video and by subscribing. And if you have yet to try any of these fragrances, they're going to be linked in the description below. But thank you guys so much for making this video possible, and thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.